Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my February TBR and reading journal setup video. I am so excited for this video because I have some good books picked, I think, for this month, and I can't wait to dive into it. So this month is February, so if you're from the United States, you know February is Valentine's Day. It is all about the love, and I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different for this month. Now, I'm still going to pick romance books because I love romance books. I love reading romance. I can binge romance really fast. And in the month of January, I didn't have any romances that I can remember. I could be wrong, but I've been really wanting to read romance. So I'm going to, for this video, we're going to pick 10 books for the month of February. 2 of those books are going to be 100% random using my little mini books that I have for my physical TBR. So 2 of them are going to be from here, and then the other 8 are going to be books that I have already pre-selected. And all of the books that I have pre-selected for this month are on Kindle Unlimited because I read so much faster if it's on Kindle. So I always prefer to read on my Kindle, even if I have a physical book. Kindle is always the easiest way for me to read. So I have all of these 8 books are on Kindle Unlimited, and I can't wait to dive into them. And after we choose the 10 books for the month of February, we're going to go ahead and jump into my reading journal to set up my February spread. I don't have that many spreads I plan on doing because I'm anticipating that for the month of February, I'm going to be creating my own individual pages for some of these books. So I'm just going to have a couple of spreads that I am going to be setting up in my reading journal, and we're going to do that next. So let's go ahead and jump into the books. Before we get started, let's go ahead and do the question of the video. The question that I'm going to have in the comment section down below. So if you do have a chance, please go ahead and leave me a comment and answer the question. I love interacting with you guys. But the question is, do you have dedicated months of a specific genre? For example, February, do you read romance? October, do you read like spooky Halloween books? For December, do you read Christmas books? Like, do you have set themes that's what you're going to be focusing on for that month, or do you not care? So drop me a comment down below. Let me know what your answer is. I will go ahead and answer the question myself so you can have my comments. And I look forward to interacting with you. With all of that, now let's go ahead and pick my books. So I have my little TBR jar here, and we're gonna go ahead and pick 2 books to read completely random for this month. And I'm really nervous because there are definitely some books in here that I don't want to pick, and I'm really hoping I don't pick it. So we're going to pick the first book, which is going to be, this is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I have tried to read this book for the last 2 Octobers, and I have not been able to read it. This is on Kindle, which is a good thing, and I believe I even have this on Audible of some version, so we'll see if I can read it this month. This was definitely one of the ones I was not really looking forward to reading right now, but we'll try it. And then the next book for this month is going to be, oh, this is perfect. This is The Rule Book by Sarah Adams, which fits perfectly with this theme. I have another romance. I'm not mad about that one. And Sarah Adams books are really short, so they're really easy to get through. And so I will be reading this one. I believe this is kind of I think it's somehow interconnected, possibly, with, what's it called? The Cheat Sheet, which I did read last year. So we will be adding this to my February TBR. So I had 1 successful pull and 1 not so successful. Okay, now let's go ahead and start talking about the books that I chose for myself for this month. And I'm very sorry if you're hearing a ton of cars in the background. I'm recording this at 5 p.m. so everybody's coming home from work, and I live right next to my road, so I'm very sorry if you're hearing road noise, but I can't do anything about it. Okay, so like I said earlier, I did choose 8 books that were on Kindle Unlimited, and all of these books are romance. However, there are some dark romances in here because I can't not have dark romance. I am in my dark romance era and I've been wanting to read these for a while. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the first book. The first book is Praise by Sarah Kate. This is, I have Goodreads up right now just so I can kind of read a little bit about each of these books. So this is from the Salacious Players Club. This is book 1. So we have Praise, and the first little snippet here says, he calls me perfect, his flawless pet, his good girl. Broken down and wounded by my emotionally neglectful ex, I wanted someone to tell me I was good enough. Then I stumbled into a new job with a boss who brings me to my knees, literally. He has me do things a real secretary would never do. Yeah, so I don't think this is a dark romance. I think this is just a romance, but it's boss employee, and I have a feeling this is going to be a good one. I've heard people enjoy this book. So that is my first book that I'll be reading on Kindle Unlimited. The next book that I am going to be reading is Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. This is book 2 of the Souls trilogy. The first book was Her Soul to Take, and that one I did really enjoy that. I read it I think last year, and I liked the book, but I got infuriated with the FMC because she would be told, don't go outside, it's dangerous, or don't do that. And what does she do? She immediately does whatever she was told not to do, and it got annoying for me. But I did really like that book, and I really was interested in reading the second book because the second book, the MMC and the FMC that are in Her Soul for Revenge are in the Her Soul to Take, and I'm excited to read this one. So this one, it has Juniper, which she was in the other book. At the very end of the book, she was essentially a girl who was supposed to be sacrificed by this really evil, I think it was a secret society or something like that. It was not a good group of people. They were going to sacrifice her, and she was able to escape. And she had been on the run. No one knew where she was. And so at the end of the book, you find her. So you have Juniper, she is the FMC of this book. And then you have Zane. Zane is a demon, I believe. This is a dark paranormal romance. But Zane, on Goodreads, it says, I've been hunting souls for centuries, but she's the ultimate prize. Vicious and feral, with a broken soul as dark as my own. I thought claiming her would be a simple game, but Juniper is far from simple. I chose to follow her on a path drenched with the blood of her enemies, but it's our blood that may be spilled next. As an ancient god wakes from his slumber, neither of us may survive. So I'm very excited to read this because, like I said, I really did like Zane in the first book, and then I was intrigued to find out some more stuff about Juniper. So I'm excited to read Her Soul for Revenge. The next book I have is not a dark romance. This is just a regular romance. This is Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. This is book 3 of the Windy City series, and these are all interconnected standalones, which I absolutely love. And Caught Up is the book following Kai, and he is a single dad. You meet in book 2. I don't believe you meet him in book 1. I think he's only in book 2, but you meet Kai. He's a single dad. He's a baseball. So this is a sports romance, but through the baseball world instead of basketball and hockey and things like that you normally see. This is baseball. So he is a single dad. He's a starting pitcher for Chicago's Major League Baseball team. And he is trying to raise his son, and he needs to find a nanny who can take care of his son while he is on the road working, doing all the games all over the country. And so yeah, I'm excited. I have really liked books 1 and book 2 in the Windy City series, and I cannot wait to read this because I really did like Kai when I met him in book 2, and I'm excited to see a little nanny boss romance. The next book that I have, I actually just found when I was browsing around on Kindle Unlimited just to see what else is out there, and I found a book called The Perfect Fit by Sadie Kincaid. I've never read anything by Sadie Kincaid before, and this one is a dark why choose romance. And I have really been getting into Why Choose. I read a couple of them already within the last few months. The first time I read a Why Choose, I didn't like it. It was too much for me, but that was my first time like dipping my toes in Why Choose. But I've really started to enjoy it lately, so I want to try this one out. And on Goodreads, it says 1 wannabe writer from Brooklyn, 3 insanely hot billionaires, 1 very indecent proposal. And it has West Archer, Ezekiel Kavana, whatever, and Xander King. I love that name, Xander King. And it has AKA the Unholy Trinity, ruthless, ambitious, and intimidating. With dark tastes and even darker desires, they've been searching for the perfect woman to fit in their unique lifestyle for over a decade. But despite their best efforts, none of them have made it past 3 months. Believing they're destined to never find the one, they swear to stop looking until they meet Lily. So I know nothing about this book. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, or that I've seen at least. So I'm excited to try out this and see how I like Sadie Kincaid and if I'm going to really enjoy this dark Why Choose romance. The next book I have seen around for a while, but I saw it on Kindle Unlimited and figured this is the perfect time for me to read it, and that is Pen Pal by J.T. Gessinger. I don't know how to say his last name, but I have been very intrigued to read this. This is another dark romance, I guess, but this one is I've heard this is not a book that ends in a happily ever after, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, so we'll see once I get to this book. But on Goodreads, it says, the first letter arrived the day my husband was buried. It was postmarked from the state penitentiary and contains a single sentence. I'll wait forever if I have to. It was signed by Dante, a man I didn't know. Out of curiosity, I wrote back to ask him what exactly he was writing for. His reply, you. So, like I said, I think this is going to be not a happily ever after romance, and I'm excited. So we'll be reading Pen Pal. And then the next book I'll be reading is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is book 1 of the Never After series. This is a dark romance, but this is kind of a retelling of some of the like Disney stories, but it's told where the villain is like the main romance is like his happily ever after. So this one is obviously Peter Pan. And it has that on Goodreads. It says he wants revenge, but he wants her more. James has always had one agenda: destroy his enemy, Peter Michaels. When Peter's 20-year-old daughter, Wendy, shows up at James's bar, he sees his way in, seduce the girl, and use her for his revenge. It's the perfect plan until things in James's organization begins to crumble. Suddenly, he has to find the traitor in his midst, and his plan for revenge gets murkier as James starts to see Wendy as more than just a pawn in his game. So this is book 1. It's a dark romance, and I'm really excited to read this. And the next book that I'm going to be reading is Little Liar by Lee Rivers. This is book 2 of the Web of Silence duet. Book 1 was Little Stranger, and this one is a step siblings dark romance. This is a story about Olivia and Malachi. They were adopted by their family when they were really young, like 6, 7, 8, 9. Malachi doesn't talk, and he grew a very big infatuation with Olivia. Yep, Little Stranger was a roller coaster of a read, but it was really good. So this is the second book of the duet, and in this book it's going to pick up, I think, where the first book ended. And the synopsis here says Malachi Weiss has always had one desire in life, one goal, one deep obsession he can never give up on: his foster sister, Olivia. For the first time, she's chosen him over the entire world, and he intends to keep her in his firm grasp forever. But his happiness is soon shattered by powerful enemies who want to claim Olivia for themselves. And the next and last book that I have slated for this February TBR is Den of Vipers. And this is by K.A. Knight. I've never read anything by this author before. This is another dark romance Why Choose situation, and on Goodreads it says Ryder, Garrett, Kenzo, and Diesel, the Vipers. They run this town and everyone in it. Their deals are as sordid as their business, and their reputation is enough to bring a grown man to his knees, forcing him to beg for mercy. They are not people you mess with, yet my dad did. The old man ran up a debt with them and then sold me to cover his losses. Yes, sold me. They own me now. So that is Den of Vipers. I'm very, very, very excited to read this. And I have a feeling I'm going to have an amazing reading month for the month of February. So those are the books that we're going to be reading, and I'm going to be taking a break. I'm going to come back a little bit later and doing my reading journal because it is time for dinner. So I will be back in like 5 seconds for you, but probably like 30 minutes for me. And then we're going to be doing my reading journal. Okay, now we are back to updating my reading journal. So if you did not see my January reading journal setup, I am not creative. I am not a drawer. I don't know how to doodle really well. I am very simplistic when it comes to drawing and decorating and things like that. So I like my planner not to be too stressful, because if it's stressful for me to set up, I will not use it. So I try to make it as easy as possible and as nice as possible. Obviously, I don't want it to look like trash, because then I'm not going to want to use it either, but I need like a little happy medium. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for this month, for the month of February. And what I've decided is I do have a bunch of stamps that I use for my planning. So we have stamps. I have my little stamp block that I'll be using. And then I do have these other little stamps that I got off of Coffee Monsters Co. It's a small business out of Canada that I use for my planning in my Hobonichi cousin. But I do also want to use them for my reading journal. And then what I was going to do is I was planning on using some little construction paper. I have 2 sheets of red and 2 sheets of pink, and I think I'm going to end up ripping them and just kind of layering them as borders on all of my pages. And then I do have 12 blocks. Even though I have 10 books on my TBR, I do have 12 blocks just in case I want to try to read additional books. And I'm going to end up coloring these boxes in using my mild liner in red. I'm going to outline the box in using my pen. And then I use Canva. I've created a template in Canva that will automatically print out the correct size books. So that way all I have to do is like drag and drop the book covers into Canva, print them out, and then I can just cut them and tape them, or in this instance, I'm going to glue them on my page, and they're perfectly aligned. So we're going to use this this is my February TBR. This is going to be my cover page. And then this page is going to be blank. I'm going to end up putting a end of month storygraph chart here. That's going to show like the number of books I read, the number of pages I read, my reading stats, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what this is going to be. And then the rest of the pages over here are going to be if I decide I want to do a page spread for any of my 10 books. So I'm not going to be doing anything else on this page. So the only 2 pages I'm going to be decorating are going to be these 2, because these are the 2 that are the most important to me. So you have a cover page, my TBR, and then everything else is going to be as the month progresses. That's what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to color in all of these boxes. I'm going to outline them first.
I wanna be a weekend lover. Yeah, I'ma be the best damn lover you got. I wanna mess up your covers. You love, you love, you love. I don't wanna meet your mother. Never ever ask me how I've been. Remember why you have my number. You love, you love, you love. I'm the best thing that has ever happened to you. Here's your time to shine. Now show me what you can do. My hands feel on your body, the way we're dancing in the dark. With every move I make, you're falling.
Alright, we're done with my reading journal. Very simple, pretty fast, and I think I like it. So we have just one little spread, because like I said, everything else is going to be either a storygraph page or individual book pages for the books that I'm going to be reading. But I used the craft paper, and I have stamps, and then I have my 10 books that I'm super excited to read. And honestly, I think I'm definitely going to be able to get through all of them, with the exception of this one, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's probably going to be a Audible or an audiobook 100% because I really don't think I'm going to be able to sit down and read that book. So maybe I'll listen to that in the car and that's how I'll finish that book. So we'll try that. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get through all 9 of these romance books and then potentially be able to read the other 2 books that I think, one I definitely want to read, and then the other one that I have as a new release. I'm really excited to possibly read that one as well. But I think this is going to be a really good reading month, and this is my reading journal for this month, and I like it. It's very simple, very easy, and I like it. And with that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so, and also make sure you drop me your answer to the question in the comment section below. I would love to talk to you and to hear if you have specific genres that you like to read at certain times of the year. Really excited to talk to you guys about that, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!